Hi there, folks. My name is Lauren Taggart, and I am the Director of Sales and Marketing here in ThinScale Technology. I want to welcome you to our second session of securing your remote workforce. For this time, the corporate chapter. Last time we talked about the remote chapter and our secure remote worker product. Today we're going to delve into our ThinKiosk product, which is actually where ThinScale began. And nearly at that time, Giuseppe Stirpe was part of the team, and he's now our head of support and engineering, who will be taking today's session. So thanks, Pep, for joining me today.
All right, you work a lot. Fast forward 8 years, I'm still here. So yeah, it's
exactly
good run.
Very good.
Welcome, folks, and welcome back for the other one that were previously in the other live session.
Yeah. So today what Pep will be discussing will be, as I mentioned, our ThinKiosk product, which is not just for corporate machines in the remote workspace, may I just say, it's also for corporate machines in the office, which we do have a lot of clients using, which we'll talk about as well today. So firstly, we'll be going through the end user experience. Quite similar, you'll see similarities for those that attended our last session. Then we'll go into the admin experience. Again, some similarities that you'll notice from the last session as well from our device portal. And then Pep is going to go through a policy change example as well as a single click installation. And we'll open up then the floor to any Q&A that you may have. Of course, as this goes, feel free to pop in any questions into the chat and we'll do our best to answer them as we go. So keep it interactive, guys. Right, I guess 2 minutes into LinkedIn Live, Pep, I guess it's time to hand over to you to get started.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Lauren. I'm assuming you can all see my screen, guys. If you can't, please post a message in the chat and Lauren will let me know. But as last time, I'm using a virtual machine. It's a Windows 11 virtual machine, and I'm about to log into my ThinKiosk. So the way corporate devices usually work, there is obviously a 90% chance that you're going to log into your machine with a domain account. I'm using a local account here, but it's exactly the same behavior. If you remember from my previous session with SRW, the way we apply the policy is what I call is policy on demand. You click the icon, then we apply the security restriction. The difference with a corporate machine is a user that logs into a virtual machine, a FAT client or a Thin client, will lose the access to the underlying operating system because the ThinKiosk will take over the entire screen. So the first thing you will see is our policy settings and then directly the ThinKiosk UI. So I will quickly log into my machine using, again, a local user account or a domain account. The user logging into this box will not see any what I call a Windows standard desktop experience. It will be prompt with the ThinScale logo. This can be branded. You can use your own corporate images if you want. We will be applying now all the security restrictions and nothing else. So the way we secure the difference, between the secure remote worker piece and the ThinKiosk on corporate device is just when we apply the policy. The modus operandi of both softwares are similar, but secure remote worker is purely because we are targeting bring your own device. We cannot lock down a personal machine. For corporate devices, just because the machines are owned by the company, we will take over the entire shell and we will apply the security restriction directly as soon as the machine boots up. If you give me 2 seconds, you will see there is, as Lauren said, there are some similarities in the way the UI is presented to the user between the secure remote worker software and the ThinKiosk software, but the way, again, we restrict down the operating system and the user experience is similar. You will see here I will have access to 3 applications and our secure enterprise browser. 2 applications are allowed. 1 application is blocked. Purely from a demo purpose point of view, I have my CMD displayed on the desktop, not because a corporate machine will have access to a command prompt. It's purely for demo purpose that I can show you that I can launch Notepad or any other apps, but I will not be able to launch the command prompt. I use Notepad and the Explorer just because they are Windows native application. It doesn't mean you can only deploy those 2 or you can only publish those 2. You can publish any third-party apps, Windows Store apps, everything you want. Again, this one is purely from a demo point of view.
Sure.
If you remember from the other session, I tend to divide the user interface in three sections. I have the ribbon bar, the ThinKiosk desktop, and the ThinKiosk kiosk bar. Okay, and the ribbon bar is where all the Windows applets application access you can have in terms of audio, date and time, display settings. ThinKiosk desktop is where you will be publishing your VDI clients, for instance, your local application, your Windows Store apps, and then the kiosk bar is where we relay our kiosk bar on top of the Windows kiosk bar just to add an extra layer of security. So people will not be able to launch any application that are natively within the Windows itself.
Yeah.
And then if I move quickly to the browser, obviously the homepage is our website, but it's secured in a way that I can only browse URLs or pages that are allowed from an administrator point of view. In fact, if I go here and I go to facebook.com, even though I'm not a social media guy, Facebook will be blocked. So you can only browse and you can only access websites that are whitelisted, quote unquote, from an administrator point of view. This one, obviously, from a ThinKiosk UI point of view, I wanted to show you a quick profile change from a device portal point of view. But before I move on, do you guys have any question? I don't have access to the chat, so please, Lauren, help me if there is any question.
Sure. Feel free, guys, to pop them in. Nothing there yet, Pep, but I'd say let's move on and we might get some. Okay.
Let me know if you can see my screen. Obviously, I'm working on 3 different monitors, so it's very hard for me to see that. So this one, I'll go from the beginning. And I know I showed this one on the previous session, guys, but this one is our cloud device portal. I have different devices. Obviously, all my guys in the support team are using this tenant. So there are different devices across different. Obviously, we have Ireland because we have support guys in Ireland, and we have the Americans just because I have support people in the States. But this is the device I'm using. Is a demo TK. The way I want to show you how easy it is to modify an options is I go to my UI profile. There are 5 different sections in the profile. You have the security, you have the MDM, you have the UI, and you have general. But a quick and easy way of showing you this is just to change the color of the UI. So as you can see now, my UI is blue. If I quickly go back to this one, I can change this UI to black. I save this profile. I'll go back to my device and I force a profile refresh. I've said forced just because one of the questions I get from the customer is, what if I don't want to refresh the profile because I have active users already working on something within the ThinKiosk session? You can wait, and then the next time you will reboot your machine or you will restart ThinKiosk, the machine will go off to the tenant, will check the latest profile revision. If the tenant has a higher revision than the client itself, ThinKiosk will grab the latest profile and will apply the latest security. It could be a UI change, it could be a color change, it could be branding, it could be security, but the way it works is as soon as the machine boots up, ThinKiosk will ask the server for the latest and greatest profile. We will retrieve the profile and then we apply the policy. So as you can see here, for security reason,
also, Pep, that we often get as well, and something that's particularly excited me since we've moved to cloud. I've been here, nearly 5 years myself, and it was always pretty challenging for upgrade and downgrade in the system as it can be for on-prem. But now, how easy is it? How would you describe it to me? I was actually playing around with our demo today and was seeing how easy it is to upgrade and downgrade. So perhaps for particularly our existing clients as well, talk about how easy that is.
Yeah, great question, Laura. So obviously there is massive advancement in the cloud infrastructure. Before, if you go back in 2 years time, even with our own software, an upgrade and a downgrade required a full uninstall and then install of version 1 to version 1.1. the way we did the new upgrade and downgrade in V8, we separated the entire software in 7 different modules. So we have the UI module, we have the security module, we have the MDM module, and so forth. What happened is, if we need to update just the UI modules, it could be 20 kilobytes, 20 megabytes, 2 megabytes. We are not going to uninstall the entire product and install the product with just the UI changes. We can upload, or I'll say update, on demand from our CDN, which is obviously an Azure infrastructure technology, and only upload the UI module. So the update or downgrade, it's faster, it's seamless. So the user will launch the ThinKiosk, they will get a pop-up message say, do you want to upgrade to 1.2, 8.5, 8.7, wherever might be the version? 10 seconds, 20 seconds, and the UI is up to date. If the module that we are updating requires a security update or a core, what I mean by core, a driver update or our major core functionality that requires a restart, then obviously the speed might vary. But if it's just a UI or a checkbox or an icon, the upgrade is very, very fast.
Very good. And there we have it.
You can see now the UI, it's black. I know this one is very, very easy. I'll call it quick and dirty, but it's visually is the easiest thing I can show you on a live session, guys, because there are a lot of settings I can modify on demand, but visually you will not see why I'm modifying or what I'm modifying. The UI is the easier that I can show you through a live session.
Yep.
We can modify everything you want. I can remove a button, I can add a button, I can remove the background, I can add a background just with a simple 2-3 clicks from the configuration tabs and a refresh of the profile. Yeah. If we need to change the way the shell operates, a restart might be needed, but realistically, guys, an administrator will not change the profile every 5 minutes, because I don't, and I am an administrator, but when you are testing or you are evaluating the software, you want to see different checkboxes, different functionality. You are there refreshing every 2 minutes, and you can see how easy it is just to modify purely the UI.
Very good. And earlier you mentioned VDI, because obviously VDI connection is something that we do from a secure VDI standpoint. But a question that we're often asked is, why would a customer that uses VDI need ThinKiosk?
You really want to put me on the spot here, Lauren. Look, usually on-prem or corporate customers are using a thin client. Obviously, you know the difference between fat client and thin client, but the majority of the thin clients are there to offset the user work through a VDI. It could be Citrix, could be VMware, it could be an AVD, it could be a workspace from AWS. Yeah. What happened is that, again, I've been here 8 years and I've seen so many issues and so many discussions. You have 50, 100 users connecting to the same VDI. Yes, now we have Windows 10 multi-session, Windows 11 multi-session, but you're still leveraging the resources of the VDI. Yeah. Technology like Teams, Zoom, Ring Central, they work fine on the VDI, but one of the, I'll call regular engagements I have with customers is the quality is bad, there is a lot of latency, so some of the users cannot hear properly when they're using those type of unified communication piece in the VDI. So the way we do it with ThinKiosk is you can still use your VDI. Reason number one is purely sometimes your VDI has a legacy application that cannot be /removed or unvirtualized to be working with Windows 10 and Windows 11. So they need a VDI just purely for that legacy app. My conversation with them is install ThinKiosk, you offload your unified piece from the VDI to the local PC, so you're not using /consuming the resources on your VDI for 50 user or 100 user. You offset the local application through the ThinKiosk. So think about Notepad would be Teams, Explorer would be Zoom. You're going to have your calls using your local PC, thin client, fat client, desktop, wherever, and then you perform your regular work or heavy work in the VDI. So what happens at the end is, instead of only having 50 users on the VDI, you will have a greater density. So you will have an extra, perhaps 20 users using the same desktop, because you're not consuming all the resources. And if you're paying for resource consumptions on a VDI, your bill goes down just by offloading or offsetting some of the work within the corporate machine with ThinKiosk on top. We will add obviously an extra layer of security because people cannot open CMD, open registry key, they cannot download nothing. And on top of it, we have, and this one would be perhaps nice for the audience, our free agent, which is the ThinKiosk Virtual Desktop Agent that you can install on the broker end, again, Citrix, VMware, AVD. The VDA, which is obviously the ThinKiosk Virtual Desktop Agents, will make sure that your connection to the VDI only happens via ThinKiosk or via the Secure Remote Worker piece. So if you look at the overall ThinKiosk stack, back to even to the previous session, we have talent acquisition tools, which is the validation tool. We have the bring your own device tool, which is the Secure Remote Worker. We have the corporate tool, which is the ThinKiosk, and also we can secure your VDI through the use of the ThinKiosk Virtual Desktop Agent. Not saying come to us and buy our stuff altogether. We can secure. Yeah, I know this is your job, but we can secure your entire estate using 3 different software and the same device portal. Everything can be managed and controlled and deployed, which brings me to the second question on the agenda: how do I deploy ThinKiosk through one tool and one tool only?
Yeah. Very good. Any questions, folks? I don't see anything popping up in the chat. Anything else, Pep, that you want to tell our audience today? Oh, we have a question. Oh, perfect time. So we have a question in, and thank you to those who sent it in. So the main difference between ThinKiosk and Secure Remote Worker is where and when policies are applied. Secure Remote Worker applies it only into user workspace, while ThinKiosk applies it globally since device start.
Spot on. I couldn't have described it better. Yes. So Secure Remote Worker, think like the way I use these analogies. You have Google. If you want to browse, you click on Google, you open your web page, you go to whatever, sky.com. Secure Remote Worker is the same. You click on Secure Remote Worker because we are targeting bring your own device. We only apply restriction when Secure Remote Worker is launched and fully log you out from your regular session. With ThinKiosk, because usually you might have a golden image with ThinKiosk already installed, or you are deploying ThinKiosk through Ivanti or any deployment tools, ThinKiosk will take over straight away as soon as the machine boots up. So yes, you are correct.
Very good. And another question, but technically speaking, both are the same and controls are or almost identical. Is my understanding correct?
It is correct. Yes, you are correct. Because again, if you look at the device portal, the functionalities and UI is the same. The way we switch between Secure Remote Worker and ThinKiosk is just a mode within what we call a device policy. So you can have one LOB using SRW. You're going to deploy the Secure Remote Worker with a single click installer. You have another LOB with ThinKiosk, which targets corporate machine. You just switch the mode to ThinKiosk. So yes, your understanding is correct.
I would add in there, though, from a BYOD standpoint, there's some nice other features from a Secure Remote Worker perspective, Pep, such as temporary storage and dual persona as well, that I think are probably more so beneficial on the SRW side and BYOD, would you say?
True. Yeah, obviously you can have the conversation of a corporate machine, again, because it's fully managed. Perhaps you can give access to D drive or E drive or L drive by between, the bring your own device and the Secure Remote Worker piece. You don't want home user to save locally on their disk. That's why we have technology like dual persona and temporary storage, which are BitLocker encrypted drives that are, again, mounted only on demand. But you can have the same thing in ThinKiosk if you want to.
Yeah, exactly. Cool. Alrighty, I think that's probably all the questions that we have. Anything you want to do to summarize today's session, Pep?
Yes, the only thing I want to show the audience is the way I can easily deploy ThinKiosk on a corporate machine or a machine that is away from the device portal. this is a different VM, guys. Obviously, I have ThinKiosk already installed, so I didn't want to uninstall and reinstall on the same machine. So I have a brand new virtual machine. This guy is empty. It's out of the box Windows 10 or 11, I don't remember. But one of the questions I get from the customer is, how do I deploy ThinKiosk? Yes, you can have ThinKiosk deployed with Avanti, with LDM, with any other deployment tool, but conversation I'm having is, how can I save money? I don't want to buy this tool. I don't want to pay an extra, deployment tool. Can you do this for us? Yes, is the answer. What we call the way I call it, it's a single-click installer, because you will send your user either via an email, or I've seen advertise, quote unquote, advertise the same single-click installer on their intranet page. They click the link. You can validate this one with questions if you want, but as soon as I submit, a download of an executable is performed. As soon as I click this guy, you will see that ThinScale will try to install the ThinKiosk piece. I don't know if we will have time to finish the installation, but I will go through the installation. The machine will connect with my device portal. It will get the updates. If I need an update, as you can see, I'm installing the later version, which is not public yet, guys. Soon you will have an 8.2 in the portal. But again, I love to demo with unpublished releases just because I trust the software and I know it's going to work just fine. I'm installing the latest and greatest of the ThinScale agent. We reboot the machine. As soon as I reboot the machine, I will be in the ThinKiosk node.
Perfect.
So as easy as that.
And I think that's huge, because from a cost saving perspective, time is cost, right? So no need to re-image machines anymore, and that's huge.
Yeah, and the beauty of this is you can even have ThinKiosk as part of the image. In the scenario where you want to deploy an image, you can have ThinKiosk as a part of the image. There is some obviously configuration changes that you need to apply in order for ThinKiosk to work properly, like any other tool. But you can have ThinKiosk as part of your own corporate image if you want, with no repercussion. And the first thing they see is the device registration. As soon as they log in, the machine will come up online in your device portal.
Very good. And I think I get asked a lot, we have a lot of clients, particularly government clients, healthcare clients, and some legal clients now coming on board, where they actually use this in the office as well. So it's not just a case of how do I get this to people remotely, but when there's downtime and you want to switch over to ThinKiosk, you could have at 6 p.m. we're switching everything. Everybody comes in, multi-floors, and everybody's into ThinKiosk, and it's not taking you a couple of hours sitting beside each person to re-image their machine. So it's huge from that perspective.
That's a good point that I didn't even thought about until you mentioned. One of the, users complains a lot. I'm one of them. I usually complain if Windows changes the position of something that I used to use for 20 years, I complain. The way we advertise, or we propose the UI experience for clients between SRW and ThinKiosk, that won't change. So you can have your hybrid workforce using ThinKiosk in the office with UI 1, move at home with your own personal laptop with Secure Remote Worker with UI 2, but the two of them are the same. So people will not be in a position, I don't know how to use this tool, I don't know where to click. The UI is the same, so the user experience doesn't have any impact coming from the office or from home. That will, this is one of the, benefit of having a streamlined user experience across both softwares.
Yeah, and unfortunately, we've had a client recently where they were impacted by the terrible flooding in Florida, which is obviously devastating. But they were able to pack up their office and have everybody safely work from home, in their environment using Secure Remote Worker without any business damage to them. So those things for reason of business continuity. Another question that we have in PEP. So we are Secure Remote Worker users, or maybe it's where, maybe it's just the way it's given in the chat, where Secure Remote Worker users actually, and the great improvements we see between on-premise installation and cloud, one especially with regards to, you are a SRW user, beg your pardon. are actually in great improve we see between on-premise installations and cloud ones, especially with regards to client and package delivery in mind-blowing. So super.
Of course, I get his point.
ThinKiosk, I guess. So absolutely, we'll let your account manager know.
It's obviously down to the CDNs. Obviously, the difference between on-prem and cloud. Let's say you have your on-prem server in the States, but your user are in India, in the Philippines, in Italy, or wherever. Every time a user connects to an on-prem, which is publicly faced through the internet, they will download or they will have to retrieve the package from the server in the States. Yeah. While with the cloud infrastructure, because our software packages are stored in the CDNs, the user coming again from the Philippines, from India, they will download the package from the closest CDN. So the latency and the downtime from downloading a package from, 100 megas to 300 meg is reduced drastically. So yes, I see the user point. It's one of the benefits of essentially leveraging the cloud infrastructure.
Super, very good. All right, I don't think we have any more questions, Pep. Thank you again for taking today's session. We're going to take a break for the holidays. I know I might be a little bit early having my tree up for those that can see it in the background, but our next session is actually part of our stack that you didn't mention, Pep, which is device analytics. So our analytics tool that we'll be looking at, and that'll be starting early in January. So keep a lookout for that, folks. In the meantime, we do now have a try it now experience where you can play around with some different situations that ThinKiosk can help you with. So BYOD, our secure browser, and secure VDI as well. So you can download it now. We'll put a message in the chat so everybody can have a little play around with it and get in touch if you have any questions. And we look forward to seeing you on the next session of Device Analytics. Thanks, Pep.
Thank you, guys. See you next time.
Bye-bye.